Hello, hello. All right. Just going to get set up here. Just going to give it a few minutes for anyone that is on. Just a minute or two here while I get set up. For anyone that is on, please say hello in the chat. And if you could let me know that you could hear me okay. And just so just to ensure that the technical aspect is working. So please say hello and let me know if you could hear me okay. And I'm just going to get set up here. I'm just going to type something in the chat here. Let me know if it's all working. Hmm. Just give it a few minutes. I'm just going to get some things working out here. Just going to get some stuff organized. Can everybody see me okay? Say hello if you're in the chat. Say hello. Make sure that I could see everything here. And we'll get started shortly. All this technical stuff. So I guess, I'll just do my introduction here for most of you um, that know me, that are here. Say hello. And for anyone that is watching the replay, hello. My name is Maria. I am the founder of Revolution 9, and we are your vibrational logic consultants, business strategists, and we help everybody, entrepreneurs. Specialty is helping entrepreneurs, move, utilize the wholeness of who they are on the strategic logical side and incorporating that vibrational side, because that is who we are and that is part of life. So I help entrepreneurs basically up level to those next level, get past the roadblocks that we all experience in life and in business, and pretty much diagnose, analyze, and project outcomes from both the logical strategic side and vibrational side. And I use many tools of of numerology, of energy work. um, as a psychic healer, I use the beautiful modalities of hypnotherapy, hypnocode, and among other things to help those aspects of release. So in a nutshell, that is who we are, and it's exciting times. So right now, I'm excited about this topic. So, for anyone that has been with me the past several weeks, I'm doing a four-part uh, Universal 10-1 code, which is the year that we are all experiencing and we are all uh, going through collectively. And I'm doing a four-part series and kind of breaking down the significant aspects of this 10-1 cycle. So exciting times. This is a really great one. This topic we are focusing on how to master the 10-1 and minimize those pitfalls. So for the first part of my discussion, we'll just get started here. I just want to make sure. So the main thing, as I've said, for my first aspect, for my first YouTube live, in this four-part series, I did a kind of a generalized overview and spoke about the 10-1, the generalized vibration. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we I focused on the shadow sides of the 10-1. So and spoke about that. So if you've missed any of them, watch the replays. They are definitely in the live section of my YouTube channel, Revolution 9 dash Stress Relief. So, but if you're here, you would already know that. Anyways, so now let's get started. So, the one common question that I have been getting quite a bit uh, is from clients is, well, how can I tell if it's my logical mind or my intuition? So when I'm going through experiences, how do you discern the difference between the one or the other? So that's a big question that I get quite a bit, especially for people that are just at the beginning stages of finding that balance and working with the vibrational side of who they are. So without going into too much detail, the biggest part is how you know when your ego is taking over your logical mind is taking over is what I like to say is basically when you initially get that inspiration, um, that idea, that or that whatever it is that you're experiencing. I like to call them downloads, but they could be inspirations, they could be ideas, and they strike an excitement within you. So I'm going to use the context of business because that's, to kind of work with, because you could format this in your everyday life as well. But for the context of, working with business owners, which are pretty much who I primarily work with, let's stay on track there. So, in the context of business, you get an idea and it feels great. The best way to discern if that was an idea that you received or that from your intuition or your logic, what I like to do to kind of test is instead of taking action, because as we know, the 10-1, what that energy is telling you is that you're going to feel it's a very momentous and it wants you to take action. So if it's something that your ego is telling you, wait 48 hours. After 48 hours, that idea that you had, if it still feels that same passion, that same trigger, that same excitement that when you initially received it, that is a sure tell way of telling you that that's your intuition. Now, on the flip side, if it was your ego, after that 48-hour time frame, if that idea sounds like, well, you know what, it sounded great, but not so much right now. That right there is guaranteed that would be your ego. That would be your logical mind taking over. So, because this energy is so momentous and it's telling you to take action, you really want to be cognizant of not taking on every inspiration or everything that your mind is saying because the energy is so big. You don't want to create that burnout. So, by doing this 48-hour setback and seeing before you actually take action on that inspiration, on that idea, That will be a sure way of telling you. So after that 48 hours, if it still feels great, move forward. The energy that is within, that is contained, will have your back, and you'll be able to propel whatever that is, whatever that idea is, will instantly manifest as long as you keep going. So, so that's the first part to that. And now the second aspect, I love looking at this time, and I've spoken about this in a few of my videos. Is you know, as many of you know, that I came from a real estate investment consultancy background, and investments, so investor myself. So I like to use the analogies. So I every so often I'll use analogies of real estate. So the one analogy that I really love to use is what we're experiencing right now in the 10-1. It's like we are, look at Q1, at these first 3 months as the excavation period. So, in a real estate development, the first phase is to excavate, and essentially you're excavating to build a firm foundation. So, what this time frame, so from for first quarter, it's telling you you really want to ensure to build a very strong foundation. Because if you don't, this is, you could kind of look at what, when you see businesses flop, it's usually within the first 3 years. Building those strong foundations may not bring the revenue that you're seeking right now. However, building that firm foundation so that you could build that development, that skyscraper, that building, whatever it is, and it'll be secured and grounded. So look at the beginning of this year as that excavation period. You are preparing the foundation to be firm so that as you see and you work towards those bigger visions, it has a concrete foundation to build upon. So, this is the time for you to set up your systems, to start and start researching, looking into those aspects of, blueprint, architecture, and start planning what it is that you want to do for the next 9 years. And that, by building that strong foundation, will not only ensure, if you're a new business, that your business will continue to flourish and grow. Whereas if you're building on grass, then whatever project, business may or may not, that vision um, may or may not. And I never want to be negative and say that it's not going to happen. However, let's just be positive and say, I'm stressing that we really want to build that secure foundation so that as you move forward. The other aspect of this time frame that you really want to do is that look at this Q1 also. As you're building and as you're planning, keep that to yourself. Whatever it is that you're looking to do for the next 9 years, or even the next, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, and as you're planning within this first quarter, keep it to yourself. And, because especially if you're working on a brand new project or a brand new business, you're in a space of possibly nuances. So starting to share your excitement, and sometimes we get really excited and we just want to share with the world. I get it. I'm probably one of those people that do that quite a bit. I love to share. However, this is the time that, when you're first starting out something, you may not have seen the results, so your confidence level may not be exactly where, you know, where it is with other projects and things that you have accomplished and have that confidence. The thing is, you really don't want to start leaking information and sharing because you really don't want to be attracting those naysayers and saying, well, you know what, maybe not, take it easy. It's not the right time. So let's try to avoid those sharing that information. So keep it to yourself. So as you plan, build that foundation, keep it to yourself, and let's see, you know let things just unfold as they may. And when it's time and when you know that you're ready to execute and share, then you'll not only have that confidence, but you'll be able to share in a way that will not only intrigue and create curiosity with others, but will also you'll have that leadership confidence within yourself to be able to stand in your power and go through those experiences that maybe people may not fully see your vision. So, so the other thing is that as I already alluded to is, and within my other videos, there is the 10-1 is a very momentous. There's a lot of momentum within this year. So you're probably experiencing things manifesting very quickly. And that's on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level. So you'll notice that the quickness of how things occur. So you really, really want to be really cognizant of when you're making the decisions to move forward, that number one, that it's coming from a space of inspiration, it's coming from a space of intuition. Because if you're continuously taking action in a state of ego logic, of routine pattern, this is what I do every day, is that I'm just a hustler, especially if you're a four. Fours have a tendency to just work, 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 whether it's just a pattern of behavior or it's inspired action. Inspired action will never create burnout. Patterned behavior, taking action because it's routine and patterns, could create burnout. So the energy is telling you to be cognizant of when you're taking action, how much action you're taking, because especially now here in the Niagara region, so many people have been getting sick. I rarely get sick, but I was indisposed a few times already this year. And I know it's because not only I'm a 31-4 day of birth, so I have that natural tendency to continuously work, work, work. However, listen to your body, listen to your intuition, and be careful with taking those patterned actions or routine actions continuously. And now, the other point that I want to make, and this is another beautiful, beautiful key thing. We are in a state as business owners where now we're ramping up. We're in already the second month of the new year. We're analyzing our spreadsheets, we're creating our projections, we're creating our timelines, we're building, implementing, and planning for what's to come. And we're doing this in a very logical way, and that's what the logic mind is for, which is great. But tidbit of information, and using this energy in this time, instead of looking at this opportunity and looking at those spreadsheets and those projections, and essentially because you have a certain goal that you want to meet. You want to see a certain amount, you want to bring in a certain amount of money in exchange of servicing or goods that you're providing. So instead of looking at those spreadsheets, take this time to visualize the person that the person you become that achieves those goals, that can handle the money that you are desiring and planning for. So, something a little bit different. So, take this opportunity to visualize. So, say you have a goal in first quarter to make $15,000, let's say. Instead of visualizing that you want to make that $15,000 and you're looking at your spreadsheets and you're planning how, strategically, how to do that, instead, visualize the person that you've become going through the process and how it makes you feel when you've achieved that goal. Who are you? Like what is it that you feel in that moment? You see that $15,000 in your bank account. And how does that feel to you? So you're sitting right there in that moment. So what is it that you're smelling? Is there a sense of smell? And what is it that you're seeing in your mind's eye when you're looking at those numbers in your bank account? Do you see any colors? And how does that feel? And how's that making you feel? And what's the change from who you are right now to achieving that goal and achieving that outcome? And who are you then? So these are the things that I really want you to take the time and look. So this is great. Now just give me a second. All right. I've been doing a lot of talking. I've been doing a lot of talking. Hello, hello. Uh, Beautiful. So, yeah, so with that said, how did that make you feel? So, we have our goals. So, let's flip this for a second. Let's flip that. Let's flip it and see. So, instead of seeing that money in your account, how does that, like, who actually, does anybody want to share here? And if you're watching the replay right now, you know, type in the comments, like, who do you become achieving that goal? If you want to even future pace to say the end of the year, and you've done your projections, and this is what you're hoping to achieve, you're hoping to launch. So, say if you have plans to launch some new products or services, visualize you accomplishing all that. So, tell me, you know, type in the comments for anyone, anyone that's watching the replay and anybody that's here now, tell me what is it? What's the change? And how do you feel? What's the change in you, number one? How are you different from where you are now to who you become achieving all those goals? What's the change? Anyone here want to share? Type it in the comments. Perfect. Perfect. So let's see here. Happy to be here. I'm just going through the comments, so bear with me. It's a way we can temper. Oh, what is the way that we can temper our ego? You know what? The way I look at it, it's not about tempering the ego. It's almost like I like to look at it as I don't even want to use the word bypass. It's being fully accepting that the ego is here to play a role and it's here to keep us safe. However, sometimes we just need to talk to our ego and say, you know what, thank you, but I think I'm going to do this instead. It's literally just a shift of intention because when we're here, when we take that action, before it comes from a place of alignment and before it comes from a place of that inspired intuitive action, you really want to that's the place that you really want to take that action from. So it's being in awareness and acknowledging, thank you that the ego, the logic is doing its job. However, it's taking those inspired action to avoid burnout in a space of alignment, because the energies this time has is only going to propel, escalate, and instantly create instant manifestation from vibration to matter. Because everything, if you think about everything we live, comes from a place of an idea. It starts from an idea, and look at the world we live in. Every single thing that has been manifested came from an idea, which is vibration, and over time has manifested in physical form. So so it's taking those inspired, passionate action that will help you, and coupled with the 10-1 energy, will help to create that momentum and that instant manifestation on whatever it is that you are wanting, desiring to create. So let's see here. Yes, I could see you. Yes, thank you. I could see you. That's wonderful. So this is about awareness instead of suppression. Yes, yes. Awareness is the first. Even when I work with clients and doing breakthroughs, you know, creating those releases and creating those strategic and internal installations, and at those subconscious, unconscious levels, the first pivotal step is that self-awareness. So yes, it's creating that self-awareness, and when you have that self-awareness, then we're definitely able to, you know, make decisions in a space of alignment, if that makes sense. Now, would anybody like any reading, perhaps? I'm just going to go in order here. So, if anyone wants to drop in their um, day of birth, and if there's something specific, or if you have a question regarding something related to our topic or numerology, please let me know. And then we could, run your codes and see exactly what works, see what comes up. There are certain months that. Are there certain months that our ego shows up more than other months? Well, in terms of the unconscious space and in terms of ego, the, you know, time is a human construct. So really, there is no relation to time in a space of ego. So like a month would be a certain time frame. However, in the space of numerology, and yes, so this is what I'll say to you. The number 1, if you have the number 1 or the number 4s or the number 7, those 3 numbers are in the mind thought triads. So they're very conscious, uh, brilliant related, vibrational numbers. However, they're also very creative and very intuitive. But the key things with these numbers is balance and foundation. Foundation and balance, because they are not only are they in the mind thought triad, which is that conscious analytical mind triad, they are also they're also very intuitive. So these 3 numbers are really, it's finding the balance between intuition and that inspiration, those downloads, and balancing that with that left brain conscious taking action. So if, say, for example, your 4, 1, 4, or 7 code is highlighted on a specific day, a specific month, or a specific year, that vibration is emphasized. So when you're running your own personal cycles, month, day, month, and year, there those specific days when calculated and you figure out which personal month or personal day or personal year, they're going to be emphasized. So they're going to be doubled the vibration. So I would probably say that those days that are emphasized, that those specific codes that are directed to you will be emphasized. So yes, those days you may see, if you're a very logical, conscious person, you may see yourself aligning with your ego that much more on those particular days. So you're probably wondering, okay, well, how do I know when my personal day is? Um, Stay tuned on working with my team, but it looks like on Thursday, March 26th, I am actually going to be doing a cycles workshop specific to business. So using these, so let's look at the higher vibration side of the using cycles. I love using cycles, and you could ask anyone in my team here that I always have to run my numbers and pick specific days that I'm doing, launching a product or doing a workshop, or so anything that's new, I'm always strategically planning them on my specific days that are number one, on my power days. And ideally, if I could, even if it's something really big, like say if I'm launching a really big event, I'll even try to strategically do it on a power month and a power day. So those are days that I'll strategic. But if it's something small, like say, for example, this workshop on Thursday, March 26th. That is strategically planned on one of my power days. So there are really neat things that when you're using your own soul codes and doubling up the vibrations of those codes, you're working with the energies to create whatever it is that you want to create. So you're not working against it. Price points, um, and wealth generating numbers. So there's so many things that we'll be talking about in this workshop. The main focus is I'm going to be sharing and actually doing readings specific to you for those special days. So bring in, for example, if you have a product, if you're going to join us for that day, for that workshop, that 2-hour workshop, bring in launch days that you have products that you want to launch, and I'll run your numbers and strategically help you plan which days would work best. So this will be a really hands-on, detailed planning session, and yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, so there's, I'm not going to go too much into the wealth generating numbers or the prosperity numbers, but I will touch upon that because there are different segments of abundance codes, prosperity numbers, wealth generating numbers, and also we also have our own wealth formulas. So stay tuned for that. So, ooh, how to use your own wealth codes to generate that reciprocity. But keeping in mind, there always has to be that reciprocity. When you're giving something, it's also give and return. And if you were a 3 or you were a 2 or you were a 6, the tendencies to self-sacrifice is very predominant in those codes. So, and also the 9s. So, because these are very giving, supportive, service based numbers. So you also want to be cognizant and not constantly giving, 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 and not receiving. There has to be a balance of give and take. So I'll be touching upon that at the workshop. So exciting times. So put that in your date, put that in your calendar. Thursday, March, Thursday, March 26th from 2 to 4. Yay. So I'm just going to look over here. Yes, it is good to know about your workshop. Yes. So hopefully, hope you'll be able to make it. Wonderful. Any other questions? Any other questions here? I know there's a little bit of a delay. Doo-doo-doo. Any other questions? Any other readings? A bit of a quieter day today, and that's okay. So, for anybody watching the replay, have any questions regarding anything I spoke about today, definitely, make a comment, ask a question, and I will definitely get back to you and answer your questions. So, anyone else? Any other questions? Does is there anyone here that would like a reading? There we go. Perfect. Anyone else? No? Well, I think this is it for now. If there's no other questions, we might end up finishing this up a little bit earlier. And I think I touched upon everything. I have all my point form notes here. Don't want to miss a thing. I could go on and talk about this topic and different things. So having point forms. So for anyone who's ever attended any of my workshops, I always have some form of, especially if I'm presenting. It's a little bit different if it's more of an intuitive, interactive type of thing. I might not put together a PowerPoint presentation, but that's kind of like a staple for me. It just keeps me on track because sometimes I could just go on and on about certain topics that really resonate with me and very passionate about. So, can anybody relate to that? So, any other questions before we sign out? Because if there's no other questions, I think this was fun. And yeah, actually, you know what? I will mention. So, uh, sometimes in business, we are presented certain opportunities, and so a few weeks ago, I was presented an opportunity to attend an entrepreneurial event with the Forum in Toronto. I have to say, it was an incredible event. Uh, it was I've heard of the Forum, but I really didn't. I've never really attended any of their events, but they are an organization that provide assistance to women entrepreneurs in on different levels. They provide mentorship, but this particular event, I was with my beautiful colleague Rima. She is the founder of the Hero Collective, which I am a practitioner as part of that platform. And she invited me to the event because she was one of the one of the highlights in terms of she had her own little booth, and we were able to interact with other women entrepreneurs. And but the neat thing about the event was um, they had 9 entrepreneurial and companies, women companies, that it was a they were pitching their product service, and it was specifically, the pitch was to pitch for $50,000 that would go towards their product or service, which pretty much all of them were a product. I have to say, I was blown away with the each and every person that went up. They had 3 minutes, 3 minutes to pitch their idea or pitch their product. And then they had 2 people that, if I remember correctly, they were previous winners from, I don't know if it was last year or from previous years. So they were there to basically ask questions, ask the questions after they did their pitch. And the products that these companies were coming out, and they were all at different they were in different areas. Some of them were fairly new, some of them were seasoned, and some of them were advanced, and they were looking to scale. So they were at different levels of where they were in their business. And I was so impressed with not only the pitches and how they were just on target, they answered the questions really great, but it was even just looking at the concepts and the products that they have created, and hearing the stories of how they came to that idea. It was just very inspiring. So it was really, really neat. It was a really neat event to see, and to see these products. And these are entrepreneurs, Canadian entrepreneurs all across Canada. And there was actually several from Ontario, which was really, really cool, really, really neat. So, yeah, they were pitching for, looking for funding seed. So it was really great. Hey, you never know. Maybe that's something that you may aspire. So the forum, look up the forum. I'm definitely going to take a look to see, the services that they provide. I was, like I said, very impressed. So just want to share that. But for anyone that has a certain product and you're looking for seed money, you may want to connect with the forum. Just a heads up. hmm So I think that is it. So, anyone else here have any questions? No? Okay. Well, this was wonderful. I'm just going to, conclude with, so for anyone that is new to numerology and you want to learn more, not only does my Revolution 9 YouTube channel have a tremendous amount of information um, in this regard, you could also to see and play around, and to learn to see if you are aligned in the space of business. um, I have this, my team and I have created this beautiful entrepreneurial soul code quiz. And what this quiz will do is just to kind of decipher the energies. So whether the energies of, who you are in that space of business. So when you take the quiz, it'll ask you a bunch of questions, and it'll basically it'll come up with the results of, you know some codes of where your alignment is. Now the question is that alignment whether you know your own personal soul codes, especially your more important ones, which are your day of birth, life path, and destiny. um, it'll be neat to see between the vibration that you are actually, that is natural to you by taking the quiz, and if it actually aligns to your own personal soul codes. So it's a really, really great assessment tool. So, for anyone interested in taking that quiz, the link is in the description. And if I'm not mistaken, it might be also in my bio, but it's definitely in the description. So click on that. The other thing, if you are um, if you're not like me that says is like a do-it-yourselfer and wants to learn, and you want somebody to actually create a blueprint, go through the diagnostics, go through the assessments, and create a strategic plan to either up level to that next level, scale your business, assess yourself, and create that alignment and cohesiveness between you and your business. Because your business has a soul and your business has its own codes. So, as you as the visionary, are you in alignment with with what your business is asking for? So I am opening up 4 spots currently to work on a consultancy basis, and where we will be working together to build that blueprint of your founder visionary persona, and see if you're in alignment to that, or are you exhibiting the shadow side, and also your business's power codes, and see if there is a synergy between you the founder and what your business is asking for, and create a 1 year strategic plan. So if you have the plans to be able to launch new products, services, whatever it is that you're planning this year, let's work together. I'm opening up 4 spots to work together and plan out your year using the brilliance of your own logical mind, but also your soul codes, and making sure that you're working with those energies strategically and energetically. So that is the newest. So, want to know more information? I've included the link to book your free consultation so we could discuss a little bit more, and I could provide you more information in that regard. So the link to book your free consultation with me is also in the description. So, any questions with that? I look forward to addressing, and I just want to take this opportunity for those that have attended. Thank you for attending. And for those of you that have watched the replay, thank you for taking the time. And for anyone that you think would be would receive value from this from this video, from my channel, please like, share, subscribe. It'll definitely help with my algorithm to get my message out, which is part of my desire. I just want this message, you know, we work so hard. So instead of working harder, let's work smarter, and let's work with the energies that are being presented this year. So, with that said, I'm going to conclude. Thank you. And you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. And I will be seeing you all soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye.